start with the basics. Sometimes that begins as early as just writing a complete sentence and adding to that each year. Right now I think it's very inefficient because we just keep repeating ourselves over and over and over again.
Well, obviously I do believe that that writing and the writing process are linked completely, concretely. And I think that for students especially emerging writers, giving them a concrete process helps them to have confidence in their own abilities and gives them some guidelines and gives them something to fall back on for when they feel like they don't know what the next step is or how to integrate certain things, or how to even, if you're giving them a topic, a research topic, where they even go from there. Where do they start?
I think the writing process starts with pre-writing, with the research part. When students know what it is that they're trying to do and they get organized and they've done the appropriate research, then they usually can come up with topics and they can brainstorm, and they usually can write very well that way.
The writing process is very necessary, especially for today, because students spend so much of their time in social writing, such as texting and MySpace and Facebook, where they believe that that is indeed formal writing. So it's vital and critical, because of all the technology, that we make sure we teach the writing process so students will be equipped and be able to write proficiently and effectively.
I think the writing process is something that we don't delve into enough at this point in maybe high school level. I really try to get students to think outside the box and go back to not just organization and structure and things like that, but go back to the base of writing, which is going to creativity and drawing from personal experience and connecting language so that we actually learn how to draw an audience in. So my ideas on the writing process are that we could stretch it and spend a little more time on it, writing and reading.
I think the writing process is very important, and I think that everyone has their own way of going through it. I think it's really important that everybody explores the multiple options, because if you don't learn, whether you work with jot lists or outlines or doing bubble diagrams, then you won't do the writing process, you won't go through it, and then whatever you turn in won't be a final draft, it will really be your rough draft. Whenever people don't go through the writing process, they always end up with a very rough draft.
Process is, to me, you can't teach writing without teaching the process. And then you hope these emerging writers will take that process and become more sophisticated writers, so that they don't have to always rely on something, say, like the 5-paragraph essay, that they're able to take what you teach them and then move on and become more complex writers. I'm an English teacher, so I love writing, and I enjoy teaching the writing process, and I enjoy teaching kids to enjoy writing. It's a challenge to teach kids who hate to write and who haven't had any positive experiences with writing, that writing is something that they're going to, writing well is a skill that will impact every aspect of their lives, whether they realize it or not.
I love writing. I actually am working on a novel. I've been working on several different novels. So I love fiction writing, I love nonfiction writing. I think that it's a great thing for people to be able to do. And also, when students journal or they get out their thoughts, it helps them psychologically as well.
I think that we should be writing every day, and that we should set aside time to reflect on our writing right now.
Even as adults?
Oh, even as adults. I think adults should write every day, and I think that adults should reflect there. It gives us an opportunity to express our feelings and maybe jot down some things that have happened, so we can use writing as a tool to improve whatever we have in our life.
I consider myself a writer. I am someone who takes the process very seriously. Try to write as often as I can so that I can always be bettering myself, so I ask the students to do the same way. I view myself as, the same as anybody else, starting at, whatever level I'm at, but then always being able to grow and become better as a writer, expand my vocabulary, practice more, read more, and that the drafting process is the most important thing, being able to put something down on paper so that it can be made better. That's my experience is that writing is a is never ending, and it can always be polished. And you know, it's when you decide you've made an acceptable draft that it gets exciting.
It really depends on the need or what the particular subject is. Creative writing wise, I go through phases probably like any other student does, where sometimes I do want to use the poetry or the journal or day-to-day things.
First of all, it's good to like get out emotions and stories. There's a lot of fun things I do with writing, ways to record memories. I also think professionally, first impressions and lasting impressions, you get judged so many times by the way that you write when you turn in emails or work products. People are always checking and seeing, looking at the grammar. Does it sound correct? Do we see obvious misspellings? And even when it's accidental or between cohorts, people will often notice that, pass judgment, and think twice before they ask you to do certain things. It is really part of your character.
Absolutely. And I do think writing is fun. And I think that by showing them good writing, by showing them how writing can impact the world, and writing doesn't even have to just be books, it doesn't even have to just be a textbook. Writing a speech or writing a commercial, all of that is writing. So writing can absolutely be fun.
Yes, the more creative that you allow them to be, the better. I think that creativity spurs or spawns that inspirational feeling, and so students are able to get out there and they're able to touch it and feel it. I also think sometimes that adding different components to it, like taking them on field trips or talking with others and then having them write about their experiences, is very helpful as well.
Teaching writing can be fun, and you have to make it fun because teaching writing is very taxing. It takes a lot to effectively teach writing, especially in today's society when so much writing is focused on as a social avenue as opposed to an effective way of communicating. So I think teaching writing can be fun, and it has to be diverse. Maybe do some social writing as well as some formal writing.
This is my favorite part. Teaching reading is fun, but teaching writing is where it's at for me. It's my personal favorite thing to work with, because I feel like if you can get people to open up and unlock that door and get rid of their inhibitions about writing and stop judging and editing as they write, if we can lose those inhibitions, then we can attach ourselves more to what our actual thoughts are so other people can hear them, so we can share them. And I think writing is an indispensable tool for self-expression and just communicating your own view of the world. It's essential, and it's also, I hope so much that people can view it as something that's not work but fun. That's what I always hope.
It can be. It definitely can be. And there's always variations for that. It either needs to be classes are split into writing one semester and literature the next, or 9 weeks of writing and 9 weeks of literature, or perhaps, if we could have smaller class sizes, or have classes just for journalism and for various aspects of writing where you can use more creative things and aren't so constrained by the particular curriculum requirements for everything else that needs to be covered.
Learning the writing process, I think it's very important to find more relaxing ways to go through it, like writing fun stories or easier research essays the first time through, so that really you're focusing on organizing your ideas rather than the content. And then you can apply all those to a much more challenging topic. So you go through the process one time with something that is either enjoyable or not quite as challenging, and really you're just trying to organize your ideas and get a more final copy of the paper.